Good afternoon. I'm trying to find a way that this phone will stay up. Of course, it'll stay up landscape way, but that doesn't record very well. I have had so much stuff been going on. I'm trying to keep up with my 3 jobs. Usually I have 2 jobs, and I've been mainly doing my 1 job. That's why I've been doing the wine and the liquor promos, because I get those left over from my jobs, which I've been doing that 11 years. That's actually my favorite job, and I'm glad I have it right now because I'm having a lot of problems with my children, especially my older child and even my parents. This is basically to explain why I started getting into the Chris Watts case and why I started a channel. Basically, the Chris Watts case, I might have stated this before in some of my videos, but I'm trying to link it all together, because I do have 2 other videos that I have notes on that I want to do, but I just had something go on, and so I feel like I need to talk about this right now, and I did say I was going to address it. So, anyways, I'm sitting here today because I've had a lot of problems since about September. Well, first of all, this year for school has basically been a change for everyone anyways, because I have 2 daughters, and one started middle school and one started high school. So we all know how those years can go. And these schools that I'm around, that they go around here, I'm not just blaming the schools, because I know it's the children as well, but it's all of them. But they don't even let you defend yourself. And then they say that horseplay, basically they try to get the kids to be suspended 2 or 3 days a week. And I basically just lost it a while ago because I haven't even hardly worked since September. And that's why I'm trying to piece together. I started watching the Watts case, basically I think towards the end of August, September. It was a little bit after it happened. And it was because I went to the dentist, and they reminded me of this spot I had on my neck, and then I started my insurance and everything, it wasn't the same doctor, and I hadn't been to the doctor in a while, so I had to go through all that. So I had to go to the dermatologist after the doctor recommended me and did a checkup and physical. And I was originally going to the doctor for other problems that I think have to do with stress, but I have not even touched base on that with my doctor, because now that doctor is gone. So I will get to that even more later. So I go to the dermatologist, and they look at it and they say they think it's basal cell cancer, so they do a biopsy. The biopsy is not deep enough, so they say with my insurance that I need to go to their surgeon. So he's a plastic surgeon, and he can go deeper if he needs to, or whatever's going on. So that was worrisome. So then I had my first operation at the end of October, and I basically had it set up for 3 weeks, worried, looking up what was going to go on. It's not as bad as melanoma cancer, but it can be. So then after I had that surgery, they didn't let me know until December. And I substitute teach, so we had a lot of break off for school, because we have about 2.5 weeks off then. So they didn't let me know. Well, they did let me know before break, but I was going to go do my second surgery before break. So I didn't even work in December. I've barely even worked. And then it's just been one thing after another. So then I finally, because they said they had to do a second surgery because it went deep. It was a rare form. And I started looking that up, and it was saying that it could go into bone cancer. And I was just like, okay, why do I feel this certain way? Is this why? And then finally they let me know, not until the end of January, basically. I think it was January 27th or 29th. I don't remember exactly, but I know it was towards the end of January. They let me know that all margins are clear. So then I proceed to try to go about the original problem I had. My doctor's no longer there. Then my mom starts, because I've had problems with my mom for years now, with my family. I will probably touch base more on it. It depends on if I feel like talking about it. I'm going to try to touch on the main things going on right now. A couple years ago, they tried to take adoption of my oldest daughter because they moved on my street in 2010, and I've lived here since 2000. They said they were going to move here to help me get my bachelor's degree, which I did receive my bachelor's in applied science in May of 2013. They did not come. They did not like anything I do in my life. I don't think they really like me. Obviously I don't really think they love me, and I don't think you will think they do by the time I'm done telling just this part. So their reasoning was because they found out how much money I was getting for tax return. Even though I didn't claim my kids at first. I started claiming them and getting like maybe a couple grand the last couple years, I believe. I think it's like maybe this was like the 4th time. But I always still see my oldest daughter every day, talk to her every day. She used to do everything with us. That's kind of gotten strained because she's in high school and things that are going on, which I will touch base on more later. But she's on the street, so it's not like she's gone, but she thinks of my dad as more of her dad. And plus, my mom has started seeing another man still married to my father the last couple years. She left one time for a few months, I believe it might have been 3 or 4 months, and then this time she's been gone since September. So, you've got my youngest daughter starting middle school, my oldest daughter starting high school, me getting diagnosed with skin cancer, barely working, the girls going through changes with their school, me going through changes because if you have kids, you know what I mean when they leave elementary. Plus, I used to teach their classes, and I always taught their schools I've taught for 7 years. So I was really close. Have a certain schedule, routine, everything, which is, a lot of that's gotten changed now, and especially with my older daughter. There's so much to keep track of this. I almost feel like I need notes. This is my notes for the Chris Watts case. I feel like I need notes for this right now. But trying to keep on track, get that later, of what's going on right now. So, my mom and them started that, and I said, well, I'll give you Jasmine's part, because all my taxes are from EIC. They're not mainly from my kids. And plus, I have self-employment, so I have write-offs. And I don't make a whole lot, really, because I'm trying to also balance children and a home, and I cook like 4 or 5 times a week. I don't have maids. I've never believed in maids. I've even been a maid. I do all the bill paying mainly. My husband does pay his insurance and his car insurance and our phone bill, but I do all the other paperwork, all the grocery shopping mainly, even though that's going to kind of change, which might be a pressure off of me. Because, so, then they dropped that, okay? And then we dropped that in 2017, and things started getting better again with my daughter, because I will tell you in another video things that happened since I've had my kids. My mom reminds me so much of Chris Watts' mom and family, all of them do, that it's scary. And I think that's why I relate to them. Plus, the girls were supposed to be starting school. They remind me of my daughters, because my daughters are like 3 years apart. But I always used to, you know, at one point when I had my second child, I was selling Avon. I was working for this window washing company, going to school, and then I started working at BB's. Which once I worked at BB's, I mainly did that and went to school and sold Avon for a while. I've always done a lot, especially like since my kids were born, because I was determined I was going to finish my degrees. I was determined I was going to work. My parents didn't like me to work. They think the man should do everything, which would be nice. It's not realistic. I mean, it would be nice, because I don't sit around. I don't just go and shop. I basically am dealing with my children, schools, courts, doctors, dentists, shopping, cleaning, the animals we have. I mainly take care of them because my husband's always working. I mean, he does give the dog a bath. I don't really do that because he had the dog before we got it. And he helps sometimes with the bunny, but it's a lot of things. It's a lot of things. And it wouldn't be so bad if all these extra things were not on top of it. So anyways, I'm thinking, oh, this 2019 would be great because I found out I have clear margins. Well, no, my parents start again about texting me and my husband about giving them my oldest daughter's social security number. They're going to call this and that and do this and that, and they already filed for temporary custody. Now they're going for temporary custody because I finally got child support for a year. The whole time my kids have, this is the only time I've basically gotten it. I think I got it one other time for like 4 months, but my children are almost 12 and 15. So my oldest daughter wouldn't be getting any of this anyways. And it's not even about the money, because they all get money. They all constantly act like I'm a bank. But what happened was, one of my mom's friends that she's had since she was 12, and then myself, was tired of her because this Christmas, she left before Christmas, as I told you again, and is living with this man on the other side of town, which everybody seems to know, and my father still denies. He says it's her friend, and he's even seen texts that says from 2 years ago that she loves him and she wants him to get her out of her crap life. And my dad still doesn't believe this. Still. It's like I'm living in a Twilight Zone. It's like a demented soap opera. So if you don't want to hear it, scroll along. I mean, I'm relating myself to the case, kind of. Yes, it's, I'm not living in a big, giant home. I am an independent woman. This is my house. I mean, now it's my husband and I's, but I had it before I met him. Almost 13 years. And I've had it now 19 years. And I have 3 degrees. I've always pretty much made it on my own. And my mom basically is from the time where she made it off my dad and he didn't really want her to work. And I think she has a little bit of anger and jealousy over that, and so do a lot of other people. And plus she had me at 19, and it seems like her mentality is still that of a 19-year-old. I'm gonna go lay down. So anyways, she writes this big response, which when this is all said and done, I'm probably going to have a video reading her response and reading mine. Her response was 90% false, inaccurate, made up stuff. My response back to the summons is like facts, because I'm the one that deals with schools and doctors and has been dealing with the suspensions lately. And they sent Jasmine to teen court, and I went to that. And then recently they tried to scare her a little bit. Well, last week, I know I'm kind of being a little choppy, but I'm trying to make this video not too long, just to kind of touch base of what's going on in my life. Since this case basically started with Shanann and her children. And it's close to my heart. For many reasons. And so, we're at the part where I sent my response, because I had 20 days, and I sent it on April Fool's Day. I thought that was so appropriate. And I got text of my mother, because she had her lover fill out the paperwork to summons me, and my father and her signed it. And it is to do with the case, because they are trying to say that it's better for my older daughter to be down there because she can do whatever she wants and run the show, and they've always had favoritism towards her, and that I should be paying them child support and all my child support whenever their father's ordered to pay child support to me too. And if worst case scenario was that they did get child support, they're not educated, because they go by what everybody makes. And they're doing this for Jasmine for 3 years, which my mom will get and just blow, because that's the way it's been. All of her life choices are mine and my kids' fault. That's why she's trying to get extra money a month, because her Social Security is not enough, because she didn't work a lot because she's from that time. Though her and my father don't have car payments or a mortgage, they get retirement, 2 Social Security checks, and disability, but they want mine. And I didn't tell you the best part yet. My 41-year-old brother that has never worked but a few times back when he was in his early 20s at the mall, lives there scot-free, rides a bike because he had 2 DUIs that they paid all the way for, and his community service as well. And he doesn't pay them anything, and he doesn't pay child support for his twin boys. he rides every day to the LA Fitness gym that they pay his membership for. So their thinking is, I need to give them some of my money so they can make sure that their 41-year-old son that they're going to leave the house to, and my older daughter, which I don't want nothing they have, I don't need nothing they have, but they're going to leave that to them. These two that are not even doing right in life because of being around that environment. My brother would lose that house not paying taxes and insurance. That's how sad it is. Oh yeah, and they paid for him to have a house for 9 years. And they said, oh, well, you have a house, so we need to get your brother a house. Excuse me, I got this house myself. Oh, but they lost it and had to do a short sale, and that's why he's lived with them ever since then. So, why I'm on the topic of my brother is because that's a bad role model for my daughter down there. So on April 2nd, my youngest daughter stays down there at least once, maybe twice a week, but most because they happen to live on the same road and they're her grandparents, and such an awful mess. It's kind of hard to deter her from going there. And yes, we do want to eventually move, but we only have a couple of years till the house is paid, and we'd like to build ourselves up to be able to have rental property and pay basically a lot or most or half or more for the next house. It's not fair that I need to move my children. They've lived here since they were born. It's very. So anyways, let me keep on track. So last week on August 2nd, when my younger daughter stayed there, she went down there about 7 because she always needs to make sure that she ate and taken a shower. She always has to eat because God forbid they feed her. You should have seen what my grandma used to make. Army loads of food. And she used to be called Grandma. And my grandpa used to be called Grandpa. I don't have really a problem with Papa, but this Mimi and Grandma and things that people don't want to grow up from, it reminds me of my parents, so I don't really like it. I'm going to be called Grandma. I'm going to roll with the punches, and I'm going to grow old gracefully, and I'm going to be called Grandma when I'm Grandma. But let's stay on topic. So she went down there about 7, and she calls me about 8:30, 8:40, and says that, don't listen to Jasmine. She's coming down to tell me about an argument that her and Uncle Andy's my brother, had. But it was both of their faults. But then she was acting like it was more Jasmine's fault. I don't really know and still don't really understand what happened down there because I don't try to go down there. And you will find out why later. So, it all proceeds to come out into the road, and me and my husband go to the driveway because they live like 4 houses down, and you can see. And he was like, I wouldn't go down there. And I said, I'm not going down there and all this, especially with all this case about to go on. And my brother, he's really quiet, shy, and he sounded belligerent and drunk and loud, and he was arguing with neighbors. And I was like, oh my God, the cops are going to be called. I was trying to call Ivy to come back. Jasmine was walking up and down the road, and I was like, just come back home. So, then the cops come. And then I was thinking kind of about going down there, but then my mom pulls up because she had to pull up, and come home. My dad got a hold of her because she was staying at her boyfriend's because, she lives there. She lives there. She doesn't sleep at my dad's home at night, which really looks weird to my children. I mean, are they going to think that stuff is right in their life? But yet they try to say, I'm a bad role model. Yeah, I'm such a bad role model. I've had this house almost 20 years. I've got 3 degrees. I always usually have 2 or 3 jobs. And I'm always trying to have a schedule and activities and love and a roof over my children's head and clothing. God forbid that. But anyways, so that helicopter comes and I'm thinking, oh my God, my brother's going to be arrested because he's fought with cops before and he has a very long criminal history. They arrest my 14-year-old daughter. And I'm thinking they're going to stop here because my younger daughter, after she talks to them, to come back home. They don't stop here. No one gets a hold of me. I'm thinking, okay, did my parents lie again? Because they've been known to lie and say they're legal custodian or they have custody of my daughter, and they don't. At all. They're trying to get me to sign her over for money, but they don't. And actually, they're causing all these problems. Because you can't have turmoil in family and try to be going to school and work. It's not going to work. My mom is such a narcissist. It has to be all about her. she wrote on her response in the summons that she does not live there anymore because of the chaos. Well, then why do you want my older daughter to live there? And you don't live there, but you want money a month? It's mind-blowing. So anyways, I had to go through hoops to find out when my daughter was going to court. We go yesterday, and at first I thought she was going to go 21 days in detention because my parents and her did not tell me that she was on home detention and she's supposed to be here because this is her legal address in the court records. And I have legal custody. I am her mother. I am her legal guardian. I'm her parent. Well, I did not want to be the one to be at fault about her going for 21 days. It was just me, my father, and her. And they gave her another chance because she said she didn't understand. And why she didn't understand is because she comes between both houses. It's her grandparents. It's her mother. We live like 4 streets down. But she's got to be stationed at one place. And next weekend is me and my husband's first year anniversary. We got married at St. Augustine. And that's where we're going to stay. And it's already booked and paid. And there's no refunds. So it's like, oh my God, what's going on? I don't want her to go, but she kind of needs to be able to go to both houses, but they want her to be stationed at one. And then they asked her where she wanted, even though she told me she doesn't want to pick and she wants me and Papa to drop this case about custody. She was freaking out because she wanted to stay with my father because he's like her father, and she doesn't go to her father's every other weekend, and there's times that we're gone. So hopefully everyone understands what I'm trying to say, because it's a tangled web. It's very messed up. It has me at wit's ends. I'm trying to stay strong. I even wrote in my response, my parents don't even have any compassion because I've barely been working due to the skin cancer. That's my 5-inch scar. And luckily, I usually have my hair up, or down. I used to wear it a lot up, but I've tried to just embrace it. I need to get that scar cream. If anybody knows the name of that, let me know. I haven't even been able to worry about myself. Like, I do promo modeling, brand ambassador, and you know, some of them actually have the title as model. It's just little modeling, but still, it goes by looks. So that was you know, I know life is way more than looks because I've always been an intellectual and I like to read, but this was hard to take for me. I'm a woman, and I have a certain job that I am supposed to look a certain way. They'll tell me to wear wedges or red lipstick, make sure I'm made up, make sure, you know, and they'll even hire me because I'm blonde, I had experience, or a certain look or way. I mean, I literally have my parents not caring about me. It's like I've had a physical and mental funeral in my head of these people, and it's like they've taken my older daughter, and it's already bad enough that they turn into somebody overnight anyway. That saying is true, but they have, I don't even know who she is, and I feel like everything's out of my hands. So I'm going to try to wrap this up soon. So my younger daughter's been getting honor roll. She was doing well. But right before spring break, of course, 2 months before the end of school, which I think it has a lot to do with what's going on because she knows. And she wonders why her sister's not here. Even though if her sister's here, she will make life hell now because she thinks she's the only child and she's used to getting her way down there, and they basically instilled that in her head. Favoritism, you're the only child, you're the greatest thing. It's like, so now my younger daughter's been having problems with girls at school, stealing her stuff, pushing and shoving her, and she even got body slammed one time. And it's unbelievable, these middle school and high schools around here. So then she gets suspended because she defends herself with this girl. And she got 2 days a couple weeks ago, and then the girl got 2 weeks. And I'm like, well, I understand that you defended yourself, but they don't really want you looking at me. Just wondering who I'm talking to. They don't really want you to do that. They want you just to go to them. Even though I substitute teach, I know teachers are not all around. And in schools, there's a lot of problems these days. A lot of problems, especially in middle school and high school. So they suspend her for 2 days for defending herself. And then someone said she said a certain word and she said she didn't, and it's not like her. I've had teachers and a lot of people say it's not like her. But ever since they think that she said a certain word, It's like they've been out for her now, and now they call today and say that she was horse playing with some other girls, and one fell down, and Ivy was pushing because they were playing. They didn't say it was a fight this time, but it's just so weird that it keeps on going on. But now Ivy's suspended tomorrow and Monday. And my plans were to go back to work tomorrow and Monday. I do a promo on Saturday, but I'd like to have some work going on this week. I hope I make this crap with my kids and my parents. It's like that Crosby, Stills and Nash song. Teach your children well, their father's hell will slowly go by. I don't really want to sing for you all, but I'm trying to keep myself calm. I am so glad I go to St. Augustine next weekend, but just the thought of coming back to all this, I do not know what to do. But that is why I started this channel. I have more time. Well, I did somewhat. Now it's kind of crazy. And I relate to a lot of these things and people and ways in the Chris Watts case. So please like and subscribe. Like I said, I probably will try to tell more in depth of the story. That's a big part of it, and especially what's been going on since fall. But I'm also probably going to try to talk about Chris Watts, do at least one of the videos that I have of 2 as well today. Please like and subscribe. Thanks.